Walking Blind is hosted by overly emotional dudes who overthink and overanalyze everything. Nothing the hosts say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. They're not professionals, and they're about to make that very clear. So just kick back and hang with them, because you've earned it. Now cue that music.
Okay.
All right, folks. Well, here we are.
Go ahead, Mike. Introduce it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All right, so let's get all the awkward stuff out of the way. Can we cuss on this show, Mike?
Yeah, why not?
Let's get all the awkward shit out of the way.
Cool.
This is 2 years in the making, year and a half, almost 2 years in the making. Pre-COVID, pre-world-ending crazy pandemic. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about doing a podcast or getting Mike on a podcast, and we're here. Yep. It took a lot of nonsense. It took Mike working a real job. It took a lot to get us here, but we're here, and This is the Walking Blind podcast.
Yes.
Golf clap.
Welcome.
Golf clap it out.
Welcome, everyone.
Golf clap it out. This is your show, Mike. I don't know why I'm introing it.
Because you have the better voice.
Remember, Mike, you were walking blind.
You're walking blind.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We're going to kind of keep it like a free discussion, but I always want to circle back to mental health. I want that to always be a theme in some ways. And just approach it from different, angles, different lenses. And if we can get guests on here, that's the plan.
Friends,
homies.
And basically just my half-assed approach was Instagram Live because it's so easy to just set up and talk.
I think we want to keep that idea going, though. I think we still want to talk to anybody that's listening, anybody that has questions, anybody that wants to reach out or know anything. We are going to have an email set up, which is just walkingblindpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
So I think these first couple episodes are going to be more of us establishing this show, figuring out all the weird shit, and then getting into the rhythm of things. And then from there, let's talk to you guys. Let's talk to people. Let's talk to homies. And then let's get you guys' input. And one of the things that I kind of want to do is I want you guys to send in audio recordings, like audio messages. Just send them to the email. You could be talking weird stuff. You could be talking fun stuff. You could actually ask us serious questions if you want. I can't give you mental health advice, but Mike probably can. He's certified for that now.
Yeah.
So
he finished school now.
Yeah, he's done with school now, and we're gonna talk about that today. Actually, we're gonna jump into what has been going on in your life, and then also by extension Martin's life as well, because Martin's here hanging with us, and we're gonna talk about what's been going on since the infamous NBR van accident that kind of derailed a lot of people's plans. That kind of derailed a lot of people's life paths, if you will. Whether they were, honestly, it seems to be like in some of the best ways possible that it ended up like helping all of you guys. But we could talk about that, and we can talk about how that's affected life moving forward. So, but in the spirit of mental health, I have a surprise for you.
Cool.
Martin kind of knows about it.
Uh-huh.
Can you hand me that package next to you? This is the Amazon package. Since we want Mike to be as comfortable as possible, and we want him to be feeling like safe and secure and open here.
Dude, what did I say?
Oh, yeah. That's why I didn't say anything when you made that comment earlier.
Dude,
it's awesome.
Yes, meet Rocky.
Thank you, guys. I don't know where to put him, right here?
Wherever you want, man.
It's Rocky.
Put Rocky on camera. This is the official mascot for the show.
Dude, I literally, because we're, obviously we're still figuring out how to set it up, and I was just like, because hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll have had our logo. Mm-hmm. we don't even have it yet. Maybe,
which we're working on now.
Maybe hopefully it'll have a raccoon. At some point, we're gonna have raccoons integrated into this. And for anyone who's new to this or to myself, raccoons are my favorite animal. Just for many reasons. I love them, and so because I love them, I've gotten gifts in the past. So I'm gonna just start bringing them, if that's okay, Mike.
That's fine.
And we'll just at some point, I want this table to be just fucking littered,
just
with
full of raccoon memorabilia.
Yeah.
Should we set up a PO box for people to send you raccoon stuff?
Dude, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, that being said, I wanna kind of jump into your timeline, and I feel like I don't want people to get confused. This show is not going to be an interview show. This is not going to be me like asking you questions all the time.
Right.
But I feel like right now we're just kind of guiding you in the direction of telling your story and what's happened and everything that's happened since. So how far back are we taking this? This was what?
We'll take this back to January. Actually, it was January, right? This is why Martin's here.
I think it was in January.
January 2015. Right?
So it's
Yeah,
been
sounds about right.
Okay.
six years, going on 7. It'll be 7 years in January.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So in January, so we'll pick it up from there because that was our accident, and that really was like the catalyst to change.
But for the people that don't know what the accident was, can you tell them kind of exactly what happened or what you remember and what you remember? Like, I actually want to hear both. I'm glad you're here. I want to hear both perspectives, like what you were thinking, what you were thinking.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think we really like talk about like
No.
the accident.
No.
I'm sure it's like weird, and I'm sure it's probably not like the coolest topic to talk about.
Yeah,
but.
it's if anything, it's always just like it's like a thing. It's like, oh, that glad we're okay, or like or like, oh, what changed because of it.
Yeah, and it's like we're not the only ones that have been through this,
Right.
And it's happened to people, and they've come out worse than we did. So like, I'm just glad that it could have been like really fucking bad.
Well, I remember getting the text message, I think from you. I think Martin texted me and was just like, we just fucking rolled our van. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, we just, like, the van's fucking on the side of the road. And then he was like,
the van's over there.
And then he called me and he's like, yeah, I just, it was like the van was fucking rolling. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Like, that was the phone call I got. And I'm like, are you okay? Is everybody okay? Like, yeah, we're fine now. But that, of course, that was like the after everybody had fucking gone through it and calmed down and stuff. But
yeah, it was. Oh man, sorry. I'll get into the last little side thing. Like when van flipping is it's like a club nobody wants to be in. But Goose from Comeback Kid had he was in a really bad. I don't know if that was with Comeback Kid. Their van accident.
I don't know.
But he was in a really bad one, and I remember they shouted us out, and oh my gosh, what's that song called?
because you were on tour with Comeback Kid when this happened, right?
Yeah, they're technically our last tour we did before we stopped touring.
And you know what? I feel like we're all over the place, but we should probably circle back all the way. Yeah. No, wait, hold on. For those of you listening that have no clue who we're talking to or what's going on, Mike and Martin, Mike Perez, the host of this show, is the lead singer and vocalist for a band called No Bragging Rights. Martin plays drums in No Bragging Rights. And we're talking tour experiences. And since they do have a new record that's coming out, and while we're recording this, 2 weeks, which is wild, we're talking about where they've been essentially for the last 7 years. Because, there's been social media stuff. There's been, little talks here and there about what happened, but never fully hey, this is where we went.
Yeah. it's always a quick catch up, and you don't really get to dive into the whys of what the things we did do and why we did them, or why we chose to do them, I guess, in our time off. So
okay, so back to January 2015. We'll time travel. So
2014, the end of it, we had released our album The Concrete Flower on Pure Noise, and it was exciting. We were all very stoked to have it out. We kind of were kicking it off with a pretty big bang. We had done a tour with Senses Fail in the fall, and then we had a European tour in January, and so it was exciting to be able to start supporting supporting the album as it came out. And so we had done our own little a small headliner, just West Coast, with some of our friends, a band called The Greenery, and our last date, I think, was it Richland or Spokane?
I think it was Richland.
Richland? Okay. Our last show was in Richland, and this was January 12th, I believe. At least, yeah. And so, we ended our tour. We had gone out to eat with, I don't even know if we went out with The Greenery, but we went out to eat, I remember, with like Ryan and a lot of the Monument people, just our friends from that area, Spokane area. And so then we had to make our drive home from Richland, Washington, and we needed to make, we had to get going just because we had flights within 2 days of a last show.
Yeah.
Something crazy. So we had to.
Was this just people flying home, or was it?
No, we drive.
You have to drive home, pack, and then leave the next day for
another tour.
For Europe.
Yeah, for Europe. Okay. Yeah, for the funeral for a friend. And so we another kind of just a side weird note is we usually take out help with us whenever we go on tour. We usually someone who helps us run merch. We've taken out sound, someone to do sound. We've had a tour manager, but for this one it was just us.
Right.
And I'm kind of thankful for that, just because of we got in the accident stuff. So we leave the show. Daniel, I think, was the first. He did first shift, and when he was done driving, it was early, but I liked the early shifts. And I drove majority of the early shifts just because the guys would let me sleep for overnight ones. So switching out wasn't a big deal. But as I started to drive, it was for my portion, we were already in Oregon, and this is January, so it's icy, a lot of snow. But we've been through this before. We've driven through horrific snow weather, and we didn't think we needed chains or anything. I don't think anyone on the road had chains. But as I started driving, I just knew I was like, oh, the roads are icy, so I'm gonna drive slow. So I did, and I saw the car in front of me fishtail super hard, and I remember just instantly just kind of letting go of the gas, just being because as soon as I saw that, oh shoot, it's probably. And so I remember letting go of the gas, and then just as soon as I let go of the gas, I just felt it start to slide. And I think had we not had a trailer connected to our van, we would have probably just kind of either eventually corrected, or I think we would have probably just kind of gone off the road a little bit.
Right.
But we weren't traveling very fast at all. But what happened was our own trailer jackknifed hard and hit us. Our own trailer hit us. And so we actually picked up speed going sideways. And that's when I knew. That's when I was like, oh, we're going to flip. It's going to... I was like, we're gonna flip, and I think that's pretty much how I said it, just because. Wait,
so when you started sliding, you ended up turning, and the trailer ended up hitting the backside of the car, the van.
Yeah, so I think we were probably at an angle, and then when our trailer hit us, it put us like this.
Okay.
So that's why we toppled over and stuff, and so, the main thing that went through my head, and I remember being and almost calm about it, was I just remember telling myself stay away from the window.
Right.
That's all I could tell myself. Stay away from the window. So the way I was holding the steering wheel, just trying to stay, because once we settled, we slid for days. It felt like.
Yeah. Everything kind of slows down.
It was a long slide.
So you were driving, and you said it was a it was like one of those early morning shifts, right? So how many people were awake with you, and how many of you guys, or was everybody just knocked out and you were just driving solo?
Everybody was knocked out. I mean, I think maybe Daniel was probably just falling asleep because I had only been driving for like maybe a half hour the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
The most.
And I woke up when he said, "Oh shit, we're gonna flip." And
No, so you said it like out loud, like
I didn't even say it that loud. I kind of said it like that. I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna flip." Like, kind
Yeah.
it's really calm and casual.
Yeah.
Hey guys, about to flip.
Yeah.
So you woke up right when he said
yeah,
that?
so I kind of woke up because I felt the van kind of slide, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I hear him say, "Oh shit, we're gonna flip," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then we flipped, and I was on the first bench. No, second bench, and we had no first bench. It was people just like slept there.
Yeah, there was just an empty spot.
Yeah, there's a
on the
big old
floor.
gap on the floor, and we flipped, and I like rolled back this way and like landed on my feet somehow, but I was standing on the side window of the van.
On the glass.
On the glass.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then
And
We
so for people who don't know, or for people who may not realize, like when you're touring in a van, you're essentially in like one of those 15 passenger, like the big church vans, basically, like where you're getting, or field trip vans. So when they talk about taking row out, or they talk about like moving a bench, you just leave empty space so that people could sleep on the floors, because you're kind of just making use of whatever space that you have, because there's 5 sweaty dudes all living in one van, or like you said, even one more. But in this case, it was just the 5 of you.
Yeah, and we had even taken out the back bench. Back 2 benches, just the back bench.
just the back one and the front one.
Yeah, and we had like a little platform, which was nice because
It's like a bed.
yeah, just you could, like 2 guys could. I mean, you could have as much as 3, but 2 of us would sleep well up there, and then usually the bottom part, was usually like Christian's spot or Daniel sometimes, but yeah. So we man, when we so after we finished sliding and we finally came to a hole, like it literally, like you would think that when it happened, I'd be like looking back right away, whatever. I honestly, it took me. I had to like talk myself into looking back because I had no idea what I see. What if I don't know if one of the guys got sucked out through the window. I
You didn't know what
shit.
was going on behind you, basically. Like,
Yeah, and it all happened so fast. Like yeah. So I remember like once I finally was able to like turn around and see that like everyone just had like just like shocked looks on their face. Like it was like such a relief, and we had to all pile out of the back door. That was only because
Oh yeah,
because
we had to open it up like up because we were on the side.
because
so-
you were on the side that
Yeah.
had the sliding door that opens.
well, the sliding door was above us.
Oh, so it landed on like the driver's side door.
Yeah.
Then,
Mm-hmm.
then so okay, and then you couldn't like
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
climb out and just dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we all, and it's like a random like fact no one cares about, but I was listening to,
I care, Michael.
I was listening to "Ever Changing" by Rise Against. So I'll always, anytime I hear it, I'll always think of that. But yeah, that was playing.
I think that kind of ties into everything though, because I've personally been with you and seen you when that song has come on, and you've been like, "Fuck!" Every time this comes on, I think about the accident, or oh damn, like it still causes some sort of like weird, like not. It doesn't like stop your life, but it's like some sort of weird trigger, like PTSD moment where you just think about being in the van, or even just being in the rain and
Dude.
anything like that,
Yeah, the rain. I can get to the rain stuff later.
All right, so we had to cut away. We had to jump back. What is this? A week later? 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, because we realized that we never went back to the.
Missed a couple things.
Yeah, we missed a couple things. We never went back to the song. We never went back to the rain and the trauma.
Yeah.
So
Which I'll go through quickly. All right, so I guess this is in order, but So the song that I was talking about, that Comeback Kid, would shout us out, was GM, Vincent and I, and it's about being in a van accident.
Yeah.
And it sounds really corny, but I remember the first time he shouted it out, like my eyes watered. I was very like, I don't know, I was moved by it, and also I probably hadn't really thought much of it.
Yeah.
Still, like I completely kind of blocked it out. So yeah, that was a song. Comeback Kid shouted us out. It was really, really nice of Goose to do that. And then another little side note, I think we had said that our last, or that we were with Comeback Kid on the accident. We weren't. We were with the Greenery.
Is that what we said?
I don't know. Anyways.
So you were on tour with the Greenery, and Comeback Kid was the next
Well, yeah.
tour.
Comeback Kid was just our last tour.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, because there was one more tour in between.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then just last. Okay, so then, talking about trauma and stuff, and that was, the accident was a very traumatic experience for us. Just a quick story about it, and just kind of where I'm at now. I still get anxiety when I drive now in the rain. I have been in the snow too. I think I've been in the snow a couple times. Just like for Christmas, my family likes to go to the mountains, and two of the times it started snowing, and I like clenched up and had a.
Do you get like full blown like panic attacks, or like when this happens, can people tell? Like people around you, do they know, or is it more of like it's an internal thing?
I'd like to think it's an internal thing. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like
you're like gritting your teeth and like
like
Arthur holding a fist at your side.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've done well. I just get like super focused. I can't I haven't like pulled over or anything like that. Like I just kind of, I don't know. I just I just try to find something.
And
to listen to, and
is it like any inclement weather? Is it like rain, snow?
Mostly. I mean, I've had to deal with it more with rain because it's in California.
We very rarely get snow.
We get no snow unless we go to it,
which you don't do.
I don't do. But okay. So one of the things was so at school we had free we had opportunities to get like just to speak to a counselor, therapist for free, being part of the school. And so I went because I was stressed out. I was like, I got to go. Like I just felt like super anxious, and I was kind of feeling myself spiral.
Oh, so this wasn't your therapist. This was just a regular. Oh, I always thought that this was like your.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And so I went in, and they kind of asked how I was doing, and I went. I was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of been worked up because it's like raining. And I don't like the rain. And then
she's like, why?
Yeah, she's like, oh, you don't like driving in the rain? I was like, no. I was in an accident a couple years ago, and it was in the snow, but I don't know. I feel weird even when it's raining. And so she's like, okay. She's like, and it had been, this is like day 2 or 3 of rain. So she's like, have you like so you've been feeling like this like since it started raining?
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're like,
yeah. I was like, yeah, but like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for, I'm here to talk about like why school is stressing me out.
Yeah.
And so
I'm here to talk about the real cause of my anxiety.
Yeah, and that's my problem, dude. I feel like whenever I talk to people, I'm like, no, I know what I'm feeling. Like I know what this is.
Yeah, it's like a self-diagnosis type thing.
And I'm wrong most of the time because they always bring up something else. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like something. That sounds like that's what that is. So we just talked mostly about that, and that was like my first time really being able to really openly share how I felt about the accident and the guilt I felt about the accident. And
so can you break that down though? Like, why do you feel guilty? Because I don't think people would really understand why you would feel that way.
Well, I just felt guilty because I was the one driving. Okay. It could have very easily happened to any of us.
Yeah, because it could have been anybody that was driving that stretch of road.
Yeah, and I wasn't driving. We've driven in the snow so much, and so like, I was going a safe speed. I was keeping up, with there was other cars on the road too, and I can't remember. I think I mentioned it, but I mean, the car in front of me was a smaller car, and they fishtailed super hard, like they were sliding. And I saw that, so that's when I kind of was like, oh sure, it's probably like go even slower. But by then I felt the van start to go. So
Okay, honest question, and I don't mean this to take away from the accident or anything like that, but who is the worst snow driver and who is the best snow driver in the van? Do you consider yourself to be one of the better drivers in snow?
No, not at all. I don't consider myself to be anywhere near like being a good driver. In my car,
even like in
no, like
even in the Camry, you know?
No, in the Camry, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Totally good. But dude, I would go ahead and say, if all the guys were here, they'd probably vote me as probably the worst driver.
Okay.
I would think maybe.
Okay.
Definitely, I can't park for shit.
Man, I was really hoping this would go another way where you're like, oh yeah, I'm one of the best.
No.
Oh man, imagine
not at
if it
all.
was one of the worst guys driving, you know? But
No, I don't know, man. It's hard. Like,
because I feel like you handled, whenever you tell the story, I feel like you handled it well. Like, obviously, there was an accident, right? Like, that's sometimes, I mean, that's what it is. It's an accident. Those things happen. But I feel like your telling of the story, like, you did a lot of things right. You know what I mean? Even down to your reaction of like, oh, I should stay away from the window, you know, whatever. And like the fact that like if it wasn't for the trailer, you wouldn't have rolled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I go back and forth. Like I feel like I'm like kind to myself in the sense that like I tell myself like this could have literally happened to any of the dudes in the guy in
Right.
the van. For the most part, I felt like I did kind of keep my cool. Like I said, I had the presence of mind to not want to get sucked out the window. I let go of the steering wheel because I was hoping it would correct, and then we got hit by our own trailer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I guess I just felt guilty because it's like, you know, it was me. I was the one who was driving. We've all driven in ice.
Yeah.
We've all driven in snow. We have had one little minor snow, like little minor snow accident, which was we were in Canada somewhere. But I don't know. So and also I think the fact that we didn't really talk about it too much.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, just that feeling of sliding, and it's funny because I don't think I've really like hydroplaned in the rain or anything, but like I have in the past. Maybe I think that might be why, because I've actually done a 360 on the freeway, like when I was in high school in a car.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was because of the rain and because So I wonder, maybe I don't know, maybe it's that. But anyway, so yeah, I went and talked with one of the people at the school, and it was just funny because I wanted to talk more about like why I wasn't
your academics.
Yeah. And like the stresses of that, and they're like, yeah, no, you have a heavy workload. Well, what about like, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Like we get it. You got a lot of classes.
Yeah.
But how about that punk rock song? You know.
Yeah. So it was good. That was just kind of my. And so now how I deal with it is I basically just I just take deep breaths. I just tell myself. Actually, not when we were in the mountains in the snow. Like I kind of kept telling myself like I'm not in a hurry to wherever I need to be, so I can drive slow, and that is fine. Like I'm gonna be okay. I've done it before, and I just put on some Adele, some Ignite. I don't know, something to encourage me.
Go easy on me.
Yeah, and so yeah, so now I just kind of I feel like I'm getting better, but I still have that feeling every time it's raining.
And what was the wasn't there a song playing when you got in the accident?
Yeah, Ever Changing from Rise Against.
And don't you have like a weird relationship with that song too?
Yeah, I mean, it takes it. I can't not think of the accident when I.
Yeah.
But then, but also part of me, like, there's been times where like I'll hear it and like I'll feel like grateful. Like I'll be like that was really bad, but we were all okay. We walked away from it. You know, my life changed basically from that moment on. So I don't know. I try not to look at it too negatively now. And that was one of the things I remember. The therapist lady was telling me, was like, you know, this has brought you a lot of good. You know, not in that you guys are okay. Like, sorry about your van and that you stopped. You lost. It sounds like you lost music. She's like, but think of it as like, are you happy where you're at now?
Yeah.
And I was happy. Not as much as like like school was so stressful, but it's because I cared so much.
Well, yeah, because this time around you wanted to make it count and you wanted to succeed, and yeah.
So
I definitely think that the accident, like it, obviously while it was like not an ideal situation, years later looking at it, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? Because I feel like each one of you guys are in a better place now than you were then.
Yeah.
Right. And then on top of that, not only are you guys in a better place, you're also, like, today's Wednesday. In 2 days, today's Wednesday when we're recording this cut in. In 2 days, you're releasing like probably one of the best records that you guys have ever put out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and another thing, like, so, like, it sucks that it happened, but I feel like we made the best of it.
yeah.
But also, I completely lost my train of thought.
I think it's interesting also, while you try and regain your train of thought, that you guys never really talked to each other about it. It was just like that happened.
Yeah.
I
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Like, what do you say?
Now, I think if we sat down, we could have like a discussion, and whatnot. And, yeah, we never really talked about it too much.
That'd be sick to have a nice little round table discussion with everybody about it.
I feel like everybody would just be like, yeah, it was weird, and we were okay now. So.
Shit was crazy, man. Yeah.
And that's kind of been our attitude, I think, if it did ever come up. It's just like, yeah, dude, it's crazy. Thankfully, we were all okay.
Yeah.
And then we kind of move on.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, what was I going to say? Oh, okay. So.
Nailed it.
Had the accident not happened, eventually we would have broken up as a band.
Right.
Just because we needed a break, you know? And who knows if we would have, like, had we not had the accident, I just know us, especially at that time, we had a new album coming out, or it was out. We had a new album out. We were back with Pure Noise. We had some really cool tours lined up. It was going to be impossible to say no.
Yeah, and then it would have just led to complete and total exhaustion.
Complete burnout.
And
knowing us, we or just knowing myself, like, I'm not going to really speak up too hard about it. Like, I would every now and then I'd kind of say something, but probably super passive aggressively.
Yeah.
But Martin had quit, like you said. Martin had quit. He was burned out. I was, when he told us, like, I wasn't even mad at all. I was like, man, fuck, I get it, man. Like,
I still remember sitting, like, we were all at a barbecue and we're sitting there with Martin and Steve, right? Because Steve was filling in for Martin. Mm-hmm. I think you guys were getting ready to go to Europe. And I remember just this conversation of, like, almost Martin passing the torch. Like, this whole, like, yeah, dude, it's going to be sick. Like, I wish I could go, but, it is what it is type thing.
And he was done, dude. Like, I believe Martin when he was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, part of me felt like he just needs a break.
Yeah.
I kind of thought maybe he needs time off. I didn't think he should. I quit, but at the same time, I was just like, I get it.
I think Martin had hit a time, and I can't speak for him, obviously, but I think he had just hit a point in time where he's like, I need to do some shit, like, for me.
Yeah.
I need to. He was working. He really liked what he was doing. He kind of had a little bit of a home life experience, and he's just like, I like I like having a couple bucks in my pocket, and shit like that.
Yeah. So it was good because I feel like it would have gotten, I think it would have gotten kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, And this way we had an out, you know, and everybody understood, like, yeah, go ahead, take some time off. And had we not, I think we would have broken up, and then this wouldn't be happening the way it's happening now, because I feel like we've all been like, no, we're done.
Like fuck, no bragging rights.
Yeah, like I could do something else. I can,
yeah,
you know. So, yeah, I think that's it as far as the.
Sick. Okay.
Should we do?
So before we leave here right now, we kind of want to let you guys make the decision. Do you like this room better, or do you guys like the table?
Oh yeah.
Because we don't know. We don't know yet. We're figuring it out.
This was originally where we were gonna do.
Yeah, this is the original idea, and then we scrapped it. But then I don't know. It's kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
Let us know, and then we'll see you in part 2.
But yeah, so we all climb out the back, and then kind of just like, I don't know. I guess it's funny now, but as like The Last of Us is getting out of the van, then we see the highway road cleaner or whatever it's called, the plow, the highway plow go by. And we're like, oh, cool.
Wait, they didn't even stop for you?
No. One car did, right?
Yeah, one car did.
Or I think maybe I had 2 by then. But yeah, one car kind of saw it all happen and was like stoked that we were okay. And so yeah, so we were able to get the van towed, and then the trailer. I don't even think we attempted to try to move it. We just took everything out of it.
So the trailer was just left.
Yeah, the trailer was done. But it protected everything. All our gear, for the most part, was fine.
Have you guys ever gone back to that stretch of road since?
Mm-mm. We haven't toured.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Or I mean, or even just, I haven't been through LaGrange, Oregon. But
would it be weird if we go do like a mobile podcast on the spot? just sit right there? Dude. Maybe the trailer's still there. You know, who knows?
That'd be funny. But yeah, our trailer definitely like sacrificed itself, because all our gear was fine, right?
For the most part, yeah. And then we just put it all in the van.
That's crazy.
And then when we still drove the van home.
Yeah. So driving back was rough because we were. Is that the dog?
Yeah, you have to ignore the dogs. I think the neighbors are fighting in the front yard. We live in the hood. Who knows?
All right. And I remember like we had to. Well, first off, we went and got pizza. Like once we were able to start driving, we got pizza just so that we can use the boxes to tape up the whole left side of our van because all those windows were out basically. Remember that?
That's right. Yep.
And so because obviously, you know, this is the middle of winter and it's like freezing. I think we went to like a auto place, and we were missing our rear view mirror, and so the only thing we could find was a big old like bus rear view mirror, and we like kind of like taped it to like the side.
Like one of those
that's right.
special
yeah.
like single like left-handed mirrors.
That's right.
It was rough, and so you know, but. The van ran. I think when they towed it, they deemed it as being totaled.
Okay.
And so I don't think we technically could drive it, but I think we were able to convince them to let us take it.
You're like, dude, we have no other choice.
Yeah, we really didn't, like, unless we would have like missed out on our flights, and that would have delayed. You know, it would just been like a big headache. But thankfully, they let us go. I think Christian was just kind of like, well, can it drive?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, well, yeah, but you know, you don't know. You could have something, you know.
We wouldn't recommend it, but like, yeah, it will go.
Yeah. And so it was, you know, that was good enough. And so we're like, well, let's just see. And because we didn't have our trailer, so now we had to have all our gear, which thankfully I think we were sharing gear, were we? Or did we have all our gear?
We didn't have all of our gear. I think we were sharing some stuff, but we still had a lot of stuff.
So we had to fit everything in the van now. So, which, you know, normally sounds like a nightmare, but like after you've had that experience, I remember not complaining too bad about having to sit up the whole time, like holding like, you know, one of Martin's drums or something, or like a head,
right?
Whatever it was.
Because you didn't have enough space to store everything, so everybody's kind of hanging on to something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the drive home was rough, but we made it home, And I think I want to say we had like less than 24 hours of being home, right? To like shower, do laundry, and then pack up for like a 3-week European tour. But yeah, we made it home and we got everything done that we needed to. And then we were on a flight to the UK. And so
Jesus.
that was to start our last European tour.
Yeah. And then who was the European tour with?
The European tour was so sick. It was with Funeral for a Friend. It was their headliner.
Okay.
And then most of the European dates were, or actually I think it was half and half, right? Fjord did the first half and then Creeper did the last half.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. But Fjord and Creeper were on it. And so it was nice. It was actually really cool because we don't do really well in the UK and we're barely growing in Europe. And so this was nice to have come back and like we were actually seeing like familiar faces because we had done Never Say Die.
Right.
And that did a lot for us. That was really helpful. And so it was cool. It was such a fun tour. And I think I speak for myself on this. I'm sure Martin had probably a similar thing, but I remember for me, like it's not that I was like, oh, I know, like we're not going to tour again or we're never coming back. I think my attitude was more, I was just like, I'm happy to be here because like, I don't know if I'll ever come back. Like right. Not as in like, I thought like, oh, we're going to take a hiatus or we're going to break up or whatever. I don't know why, but I just remember thinking like, I'm going to enjoy this. Cause like, I don't know, this could be taken from me or we almost missed it, or I don't know. I just felt like that's probably one of the most like present.
Do you feel like maybe it was like a you'd started to take this for granted type thing?
Maybe. I mean, I kind of, I want to say like we never took anything for granted, but like,
I just mean, no, I mean like just being on the road all the time.
Yeah.
That in general, like, all right, this is life. We just have to tour again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was definitely like I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I guess I just felt like super present. I was grateful. I felt super grateful for like everything. Like anything like that would have I think, maybe normally like bugged me or upset me. Like I remember just being like so okay with like everything. I felt like it was just a good vibe with everyone. It was I think it was kind of a weird at first, but I feel like, I don't know. I just felt super grateful. I just felt like, and also it was easy to feel that way with how cool everyone on the tour was. Even our little crew that we took with us, we had our buddy Hunter who filmed it.
Yeah.
And then we had our buddy Merton who did sound. And then our buddy Tomas who drove for us. And so our first day there, we get there, and of course it's it's like wintertime in Europe, and it starts snowing, and we were driving, and Tomas is like, he's like, guys, I was born in the snow, we're fine. Like he's like, like you could totally tell you guys were just in an accident. Because I guess we were all like looking out like the window.
Yeah.
Because it was like starting to
everybody's sketched out. Everybody's kind of nervous about what's going on.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was such a fun tour. It was, a little different from the Never Say Die tour, but I don't know. It just felt like for everything we had been through, it just felt like such a nice tour to do and to almost like walk away from at the time.
It was kind of like a good thing to end on or walk out on,
Yeah. Like I felt okay, I think, after that. And I feel like that was also probably one of the first times where I think the thought of like we had always talked about a break. Mm-hmm. I'll let Martin talk about his part on the break. Like we were so burnt out.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing too. We were so incredibly we were so burned out, and honestly, like it wasn't going to slow down for us. Our album had just come out.
Yeah. This is essentially a reset on everything that you've been doing, because new record, new promotion, new tours.
Yeah. And so...
Well, I keep looking at the camera because I think we're about to hit our 30 minutes. Hold on one second.
Okay. So, yeah, just kind of... And so, like I was saying, like we were about to go... Like, we're about to hit it hard again, And I think these the accident, and then I think just being in Europe, literally away from everyone, I think was the first time, even for myself, where I was just like, I think it was the first time for all of us, we were all kind of like uttering like, we should take a break.
Well, you also like in between something that traumatic, I guess is the proper word, like in between something crazy like that, you didn't even get a chance to go home and be with like loved ones and, you know, hang out with your friends. Like,
Sure.
like those thoughts all go through your head. Like, oh shit, am I not going to see my homies anymore? Am I going to see my mom anymore? Am I not going to see family? You know, whatever the case may be. And you guys were like, the goal was just to limp the van to the airport essentially, and then get on a flight, you know? And that's,
And something that one of our friends from Germany had said, and I hadn't even thought of this that way until he said it. I was like, oh yeah. He said that he's like, I remember me and my friends were worried that you guys were going to drop off the tour.
yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, like, I guess we could have.
You didn't even think that was an option.
Yeah, it wasn't an option. You know, like you said, we, you know, yeah, I went home. I got to see, you know, I got to see like my immediate family and stuff. But like, and then it was just kind of like, all right, cool. Like now back on, let's go back on tour. But I was gonna say Martin should kind of can go into more so about the whole like, you know, burnout.
Yeah. So at that time, like me personally, I was burned out. Like I was fucking tired. That Sentence Fail tour that the band did, I didn't do that tour because I was like, I'm fucking tired.
Steve filled in, right?
Yeah. So our buddy Steve filled in for me. But yeah. So when that, like, once that happened, I was like, all right, well, you know, I think we should just fucking chill for a while and just do regular things, you know. And it's good. It's been good, you know. It was weird at first.
Yeah.
Because all we did was tour, and, you know, band this, band that all the time.
And it's kind of like we had like the best problem, you know. We had almost like too good of a team around us.
Yeah.
Like to keep we got what we asked for, and it was like we're like, oh, we want to be on the road all the time, and so
We want to make this a career.
Yeah.
Which was
and you know, everyone part of our team was able to make that happen for us, and then it was too much, but yeah. So at the end of that tour, so that I think during that tour was when kind of the first time we had actually ever really been like, we should maybe take a break, you know, like maybe like a, you know, like it sounds so like, I don't know, like a month or 2 months or something like that, like, which sounded so crazy for us because we'd never took breaks.
It did, yeah. As long as, I mean, I've known you longer, but as long as I've known Martin, it's been like, all right, cool. Like I'll see you in 4 months, or like, all right, cool. Like sick. I'll see you in, you know, I'll see you in 6 months, or like I'll FaceTime you from London, you know, stuff like that, you know? So.
And if we did have a break, our breaks were always around writing or recording.
Yeah.
And those aren't
if we
really
didn't tour,
breaks.
we came home and just wrote,
Yeah.
wrote, made a record, and we would tour again. Yeah. So that was our thing. That's all we did.
So after that tour we come home, and then we had it was like a little over a week. We had some shows with Comeback Kid. It was a Comeback Kid headliner, and then the Greenery was on it. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the other bands were. It was a fun tour. It was really short.
This was after Europe.
Mm-hmm. It was after Europe. And so,
was there any break time in between those two tours, or was this, you came over from Europe, like hung out for a couple days and then went back out?
I don't remember there being like a long break in between.
Yeah, it wasn't long. If anything, like maybe like at most like maybe 2 weeks or something.
Maybe.
And so we do the Comeback Kid tour, and the shows are awesome. They're fun. And again, I think, you know, speaking for myself, I remember thinking on that Comeback Kid tour, this is really cool. I'm happy that I'm doing this, but I I think I'd be okay if like if we were to step away, or like if we took a longer break.
Right.
And mind you, so we didn't have a van at that point because we had to salvage our van, I think. And so we shared a van with the greenery, which was fine. It was actually really fun. You know, we were all cramped together, but we love those dudes. And so once that tour was like winding down, we had the South by So What Festival in Texas, which is only like I think it was like a couple days later, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it was still in March.
Yeah.
Jeez. So then we
it's like this is all within like a 2-month period, basically a 3-month period.
Yeah, but what's funny is like, you know, a year before that, this craziness was just like, yeah, that's what we did. Not a big deal.
Yeah, you didn't think twice about it until after.
Mm-mm. And so we after at the end of the Comeback Kid tour, I remember we finally were like, and we never cancel shows ever. We never cancel. And we were like, we should probably not do these shows because you'd have to like figure out, you know, it was like, I think as we were like trying to like talk about it, we were trying to figure out like, okay, well, we can drive there with this band and then we can drive back with this band and then we can borrow gear from this band. You know what I mean? It just
seems like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, it was. And so, you know, again, we had our trailer and van, you know, I'm sure we could have probably done it. But I think it was good that we didn't, and we really had, like, you know, we could really, truly voice our you know, our wanting to take a break, you know, and at first I feel like everybody was really cool with it, but it was one of those things where like, I get it from like the label standpoint, I get it from management standpoint, everyone else, like. We had just had our album come out.
Right.
We had just invested in a bunch of stuff as far as like merch, you know, just all stuff to get ready for the next year of touring. And so for us to be like, hey, can we take a couple months off?
It was a huge ask.
It was a huge ask, and everyone was like cool with it, and I think everyone thought kind of like how we thought too. Like I thought like maybe like.
A month.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, hey, if we ask for 6, maybe we'll get 4 months, or if we ask for 4 months, maybe we'll get 2 months.
So shoot for higher, and then have them tell you no. Or?
Yeah, like I remember like having that kind of like thought, and I don't know if I had that conversation with Christian or who I talked with, but anyway, so I forget what we had asked for, and everybody was like, yeah, you know, yeah, we'll take a break and we'll revisit it. And I remember, you know, we like within a month into our break, you know, we all of a sudden, you know, we're getting like, hey, you know, we have this tour coming up, you know, so and so with this band, and it just became I should probably turn this off.
I remember at that time that like, you know, one of us would be hanging out and there'd just be like an email or a message or something that would come through like, oh, we got offered this tour, or oh shit, they're offering us this tour, you know. And then I remember thinking like, some of these tours are insane. Like some of these tours, like we won't name bands, but some of them are like, what the fuck, man? We can't say no to this. But at the same time, you guys were also like, there's like peace in being home and taking like a break, you know.
That was the hard part. Is like we had just began to get like so many good tours.
Yeah.
And we didn't do them yet.
And then started getting like legit guarantees, legit paid, you know, for shows and stuff. And then it's like, well,
and this is why, like, you know, I don't want to like ever really like, you know, like badmouth Christian, you know, for him when he like for leave, because he left years later. But you know, Christian was the financial side of our band, so he saw the money. Like, the money was always in front of him, so he'd see that. And so
Christian, for what it's worth, Christian, if you do happen to end up watching this, Christian was always the businessman.
Yeah.
He would even businessman us as friends, just be like, oh, well, this is what it is. This is, you know, and he'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, dude, if it was like, and I've said this before for other things, like if it wasn't for Christian and it was left up to me, like no bragging, wouldn't have gone anywhere. I'm not that guy, and I always appreciate, at least for myself personally, the like a lot of the burden Christian took.
Yeah.
It just allowed me to just be the vocalist, you know, and then talk for, you know, about whatever, you know,
Whatever you
like
want.
basically the easy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like he made life for me very, very easy. And so I understand for him, like he's the one that people would contact for like, hey, you know, this isn't paid off yet. When are you guys going back on the tour? Or like, hey, this tour would make sense for you guys, you know, hey, you know. And so I imagine that was difficult for him. Cause he's the one who has to see all that, you know, he was like, you know, we had Jason as our manager for the band, but Christian was kind of like our in-house, like manager / spokesman for that stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was hard to walk away because, like I said, he saw the money, and then we were at a point where we were actually finally starting to do well, you know, for ourselves. And,
Right.
you know, like literally what we had worked really, really hard to get to, we were finally getting there, and then we were like, we need a break. Like we need to chill.
And it's also not an easy thing to walk away from when this is what you've been working for so long. I mean, like some people may not realize that No Bragging Rights started in the 90s, you know, like you started this band in the 90s and then it's been going ever since.
Yep.
So it's been definitely like a really long road that, you know, became what it was, and it had seen so many different phases and so many different, you know, styles and so much different life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was finally getting, you know, the tours were getting, you know, tours were
getting really cool.
Really cool. And and I think, you know, and also around that time, so I kind of like Martin was saying how, like, you know, when we took the break, it was good for us to kind of just find other things to do, you know. Kind of you even a couple years before that, maybe like a year or two before that, I had been working at a coffee shop just so that I could have something to do in between tours. And because it's, you know, it's what's it called? It's a small local business, and they let me leave. They let me come and go as I wanted, let me work as much or as little as I wanted. And it was nice. It was nice to have something to do, because what a lot of people maybe not realize, you know, unless you're doing really, really well in your band and you can like not work, then you're, you know, good for you. You're chill. You have a spot and you're taken care of. But like we weren't making that kind of money. And so like when we're home, it's really hard to find work in between tours.
Especially somebody that will allow you to kind of come and go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that will, you know, understand why you're doing what you're doing, or understand that you're not just like, oh, I just don't want to work. Like, actually, I want to work as much as possible when I'm home. You know,
who wants to rely on someone or have someone where it's like, hey, like I'm here for 2 weeks, but then I'm gonna be gone for all summer, basically.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's. I mean, as you'll kind of like figure out later on down the line, like that became more of a family than a job, because, you know, even to this day, we're, for what it's worth, we're there every weekend together drinking coffee. You know, so it's like
Daily Brew Coffee House. I even shout them out on the new EP.
Shout out Daily Brew.
And so also like what Mike was saying about working there, you know, I'd been there for about maybe a year and a half, and it was around like I can probably almost say when. It was around October of like 2014 when I remember I was starting to really make connections with my coworkers.
Right.
And it's something I never really had like that in such a long time. And it was nice because I was starting to get a feel of like actually being home now, you know, and I was kind of really missing that because like it's, you know, touring is cool. Like playing different states is cool. Playing with all these bands is rad. Like it's fun. Being on stage, performing, that never got old to me. That was always fun to do. It's all the other stuff. It's missing birthdays. I had cousins, like I've said this on other stuff, but like I literally had a cousin who was like 14 when I left, and he was basically done with college by the time I was done touring. And so I missed all that, you know, like I missed stuff like that. And so I was also starting to really make an effort to like reconnect with like family, like my cousins and stuff. And like really, make the effort to, connect with my coworkers. So I remember it was starting to even get harder to leave for tour.
Because you didn't want to leave what you had.
Yeah. Cause it was actually, I was actually I was actually missing like people back home. And it sounds weird, like no offense to like you, Mike, but like friends like that I've known you, like you guys for a long time. It's like we've been doing this for like 8 years, so it's like not really a big deal. And so I don't know, but it was just like I had my family and a group of people that I didn't really make those solid connections, and I was really wanting that. And so
I think there's something to say too. Sorry to cut it in. I think there's something to say about the fact that, like, especially when you talk about, let's say, the coffee shop. These were like as close as we all are. A lot of us became friends because of music. I mean, some of us met playing in bands, whatever the case may be. And yeah, like you become really close friends. You become, like family with people like that. But then when you have somebody that's completely outside of what you do, right? Like somebody that's never, like, that knows nothing about sleeping in a van, or that knows nothing about being on the road, or having to like not shower for 4 days, wear the same shirt on stage for 4 days, like when you get people that don't know that become close to you, it's a different thing, because they're not going to come turn around and talk to you about like, dude, like, hey man, did you hear him fuck up that riff yesterday? Or like, they're not going to talk to you about things like that. It's going to be like normal everyday, like, hey man, did you see his shoes the other day? Like,
or not only that, it's just like
shit.
Or you like, it's obviously we love music, but it's like you literally talk when you're on tour. You talk about the same thing, same bands. Like,
yeah, it's true.
It's like we all know these guys. Like, like they put out an album. It's sick. It's cool. And like what you said, like it was nice. Like I never, unless anyone asked me, I never talked about No Brainer.
Yeah,
ever. Yeah. Like there was people at my coffee shop. So I just recently, like I guess in the last couple months, I had my last day there, and I worked there for 8 years. There's people. Real here,
you didn't have your last day there. You've been there every day since.
Yeah, I know. But like there's people that have been regulars at that coffee shop that they still have no idea that I'm in a band, or I was in a band that toured like that and stuff. Like I have regulars, and it was funny because towards like. There's moments where like every now and then somebody would find out, or they'd ask questions or something, because I never went out of my way to tell people, oh, I was in a touring band. And so it was always interesting to like have those conversations with customers, because especially like regulars, like some people I've seen them more than like anyone in my life. You know what I mean? Because like they're literally there every morning. So yeah, it's just nice to have that like complete break and just talk about different things
and just be a normal person for a while.
Yeah.
Like no quote unquote rock star stuff.
Yeah. It's not, it's not even really like that.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to not do that. Like I remember, especially in those first couple months for sure. Like I was like hounding down like my cousins to go like watch movies with them. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. It was like fun. Like, or I wanted to do, I think I feel like I started to do karaoke more. I don't know, just things you can't do when you're home, watching movies. I was saying how like, I don't think I've missed an opening weekend movie of, like a movie that I've wanted to see since we stopped touring. Like that's like my thing. I love movies.
So then for Martin, what's changed for you essentially since this short break that was only supposed to be like what, a month or two became
2 months.
2 months, then became essentially 7 years.
Well,
6 years. You work on the record for about a year now.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I started to work at the print shop that made our merchandise, and then that's where I learned how to print, and that's how I guess got my start in the career that I have right now. So that's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I think I'm pretty good at it. I don't know. Just doing that, and then I had the opportunity to like start other bands. I helped start this band with our buddy John, who was in the Greenery, and Dan, who was also in the Greenery, and Tank, who was in Riding Out. And at first, we were called Bloom, but we had to change the name. So then it became a Slow Trip.
Cooler name.
So that was super fun. And then I started this other band called Cross Control with some mutual friends of a coworker. And just been doing that. I moved out of state for about a year, then I came back. So, just been kind of doing regular life stuff. It's been nice,
Yeah.
But of course, I can't not play music. So
Right. Well, it goes to show by the 18 other bands that you've started in the past 7 years.
Yeah, are filled in.
Yeah, I tried to be very involved still, and I'm glad that I have been, because it's been a huge part of my life, so it's too weird to not do it.
Yeah. Like when, I have my little notes here for the big things that I've done since touring, and it's, working at the coffee shop, and then basically coaching high school baseball, and then going back to school. And those, if I were to tell myself hey, this is what you're going to be doing for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, what?
So coaching high school baseball. So to give a little bit of weird backstory, I moved back to California in 2005, and I went to a school out here. We don't have to name it. I went to a school out here, and I was throwing a baseball with my cousin, and him and I were just throwing a ball in the backfield after school, waiting for a ride or something like that. It was technically my senior year of high school, and this guy walks up to me and goes, "Hey man, you're not from around here, are you?" And I was like, "Is this some weird gang shit? What's going on?" And it was Mike. And I guess
so. It was some weird gang shit.
Yeah, so some weird gang shit. So I guess he had seen that I had it was a private school, so I couldn't wear my earrings to school, and I had my ears gauged. And he saw that, and then saw me also throwing a baseball and tried to recruit me to play on the baseball team, essentially. So I've known Mike essentially since 2005, 2006, first as my baseball coach, and then later on through music and touring and, just being friends and playing shows and stuff. But so you were already coaching, I guess all that is to say, you were already coaching baseball while you were in NBR and while you guys were touring and while you guys were starting to get on the road. Because I remember both of my younger cousins played on the teams after I had been gone and graduated. Yeah. And, it's funny because, Philip refers to you as Mikey, and then Nathan refers to you as Coach Mikey. So it was like, oh, Coach Mikey's gone again, or he's here, whatever the case may be, So you were still in and out of coaching, and then what was that transition like when you came back home, and then you were just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna coach full time.
Yeah. During that time, 2005-ish, when I was helping or I was coaching, then my brother was the head coach for the baseball team, and so I could just show up, and if I was home from tour, I would help out, and I was super invested in it. I love coaching, and so I did that until 2011. Basically, when my brother's a pastor, and he went to preach at a church in Escondido, so he left the area, and so and NBR was already starting to pick up a little bit more, so I couldn't take over the team. I was just there as kind of an assistant, and I could come and go as I pleased. And so I stepped away from coaching, and then when NBR when we went on our break, I feel like actually, yeah. So I feel like, okay, so our tour ended with the Greenery in the middle of March, right? Was it your birthday?
March 15th was my birthday, so that was like
That might have been the last day of
the
the show.
last day.
Actually, it is. I have it in my notes. March 15th, last show to come back. So yeah. So middle March. Okay. So that was our last time. That was our last time touring with MBR, and then we really quickly kind of realized we're not going to do these Texas shows, and so I remember when we canceled the Texas shows, we canceled the shows, and we canceled them saying like we're taking time off, like we're going to be whatever, like 2 months to 3 months, whatever it is, like we're taking time off. And I know this sounds like really convenient, but like literally the day that we had sent the email like, hey, we're canceling and we're going to take time off, like that day that I sent that email, I got a phone call from my old high school, and they needed a head coach. And I'd never taken over a team like as a head coach before. And so he had asked me, and I don't know, because I was just like coming off of like not knowing how to feel, of like officially being like, hey, we're taking an actual break. And, that I said yes to like coach a high school team. Immediately. Didn't know any of the kids. I hadn't coached in about, 4 years, whatever it was. And so that became a big part of my time off, was I was finally able to do even that, coach in a different way. I'd never been a head coach before. And I loved it. It's a small school, but it was a high school team. And, I loved it. That became, I like to pack my schedule. And so I was working at the coffee shop, and then I was coaching. And then that like summer is when I decided I wanted to also go back to school. So that would become like my life. The next couple years it would become working at the coffee shop part-time, coaching high school baseball, and then going to school. And going to school was that started off very going to the mental health, which is something I through touring I became really passionate about. And so I just wanted to learn more about mental health. So I took psychology classes. I took every psychology class I could take at RCC, which is our local Riverside Community College. And so, and then when I was doing that, that kind of led into, they asked if I wanted to speak to a counselor. And I think I went like a full year of going there and just being like, no, I'm good. I'm just taking classes.
I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah. I'm just going to take classes that just sound interesting to me. And so like, I remember I took 2 philosophy classes, which I loved. I took a couple of sociology classes. And so finally, like I went and talked to a counselor at the school just to kind of see, check in on my grades. Not very exciting, but like I never cared for school ever. And I made really half-assed attempts to go back to school, like before touring or any of this stuff. I didn't care for school. I was basically going so that I could like stay on my parents' insurance. That's why I went.
It's very motivating to kids, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I didn't care. And so I had all these awful grades because I had a friend that worked in the office, and she was the one who told me like, yeah, after this many days is you show up on the insurance. And so she told me the day, and I would know, okay, got to keep going to school till that day. And then when that day came, I'd leave. I never went back. So I just drop out. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out that first episode. The part 2 of this episode, I finished talking about basically schooling, and then where we are now, and how MBR got started up again. So thank you for checking this out, and hopefully see you in the next episode.